Hey, everybody, welcome back to some episode of the Jodo Cast. Doesn't matter. The numbers are pretty irrelevant, I guess. This isn't serialized. I'm Joe. Joining me is Kurt
Hello.
and Leo.
Howdy.
And we've got there's a bunch of news to talk about. This is just breaking news.
Sort of.
I don't have a newsroom voice. This is the Jodo Cast, coming to you from the internet.
We should all talk in like old timey newscaster voices.
We got breaking news. See, Star Wars Outlaws, Shadows of the Galaxy, Atomic Mass Games, and more. That could be our new thing. We all have like transatlantic accents.
The listeners will start rolling in. So they've been demanding.
Well, because that accent never really existed. It was only like in media because it was like, I don't know, like movie people talk. So that's, it'll make us more cinematic.
It feels like something that would exist in Star Wars too. Like, I guess some of the Clone Wars opening things are like close to that, but not quite. It's the same vibe of like a early century serial announcer. So it's close to that, but anyway.
This just rolled in on the ticker. Star Wars Outlaws from Ubisoft Games has a release date. Breaking. Send all the children out with their newspapers. 10 of them will come back alive.
It's just in striking from a hidden base. Rebel fleet has secured its first victory against the Empire.
Before we get into the news, what you been playing, Kurt?
I've been playing some Star Wars Unlimited.
Just remembered we have a timer for this.
I've been getting some practice games with the Leia deck and hope to play that at a tournament soon, so we'll see how that goes, but it's been fun. Also been playing a little more Dark Forces Remaster. I just escaped from Jabba's spaceship barge thing. That's been fun to dip my toes into a little bit. That's probably all, though. I think that's all the Star Wars games that exist.
I always thought it was really kind of lazy how there's just okay, we need to make a spaceship for Jabba. Well, what if we just put his sail barge in space?
Basically, yeah.
Said it's not actually a sail barge. It just happens to look exactly like his sail barge.
Got an aesthetic.
Pretty much.
It makes
would have been cooler if they made it look like his palace.
What if this palace took off like the pod of a Lucre Hulk? Like, why not?
Like the command center from Capital City on Lothal.
I mean, that's like on Dune. Like that's what the in Dune Part 2, like that's what the Emperor arrives in on Arrakis, is like he just literally flies around in the Imperial Palace.
Hey, good call.
I don't have good lighting.
It's more efficient. The funny thing about that Jabba's ship level 2, he has pets on the ship that he just like stores in different rooms. So you have to you start by having to punch this creature to death called a Kell dragon, which is like a big toad sort of. You have to punch it to death before you get your guns back.
It's just sleeping.
No, it's trying to bite you, and you have to like circle strafe and
because
punch
you're punching it. It's normally a very you could have just walked past it, given it a couple scritches. Kyle Katarn's like, oh my god. Like, the Rancor is the only of Jabba's pets that's like actively hostile. The rest of them are like really nice.
He's also not on his ship at the time. His ship captures you, and he's like not there. It's just flying around with his goons on it. So it's a little weird, but
they had Kell dragons in Old Republic.
I forget the order. Have you done the sewer level yet?
I've done some sewer levels. I don't know if there's multiple ones, but I've been in some sewers. I've killed a lot of Dianogas.
I think that's the one. I think I remembered that level being a pain in the ass with.
Some of them are very maze-like.
There's when you get swept along in the current, and then you got to make sure to go down either the left or the right path at the right time.
Yep.
Yeah, you get swept up in the current of sewage. Very
and
then heroic.
your progress will stop. It'll be like, why did I stop in the middle of this flow of water? Oh, there's an underwater Dianoga that's about to bite me. You just start shooting it. It's pretty strange, but it's fun. I like those old school shooters. So that was way over my time. So
you went over time. So you forfeit your what you've been playing for the next 10 episodes.
Oh dang,
Leo, what you been playing?
We're not really gonna play this every time, are we?
Maybe. Talk fast and you'll have to listen to it less. This was a way to get to the meat of the episode with less rambling.
Patrons demanded it.
Yeah, I don't like this music. I feel like I should not say what I've been playing in protest.
This track is shorter. I timed the other track to be the right volume and the right length. This one's shorter, so
I've been playing Star Wars Unlimited.
Time's up.
Like a lot, you know.
I know how that goes.
I'm trying to get a few reps in with or tweak the deck I'm gonna run for this weekend. We've got an event where the top prize is I forget if it's just a hyperspace Vader or if it's a hyperspace foil Vader.
I think hyperspace, but either way, I want it, and I know I'm not gonna get it.
That's pretty good stuff. So what I've been playing is Unlimited. I did my first Unlimited draft last night. It was a lot of fun, and drafting was less stressful after having basically being pretty satisfied with my collection, because I'm like, well, I passed by a lot of rares and stuff because all the rares I pulled sucked. Somebody did get a Vader and an Avenger during draft.
Wow.
Everything that kind of I managed to grab a few that I still needed, like Saw Gerrera and Cause I Believe In and stuff. But it was really fun. So I'm excited to do more drafts. It was interesting seeing how the half of the crowd didn't bother showing up because draft is for casual babies, I guess.
Really?
And they only want to do constructed, serious.
That's funny because I always think of a draft as being, because I feel like the skill ceiling on draft can be a bit higher just because knowing how to draft is a really incomprehensible skill to me. Like reading what the other players in your pod are drafting and stuff like that. I can't do it. I just pick a leader, decide the asp and base that I want to go with, and then just start grabbing all the cards that match that as they come to me.
Yeah. My leaders were Tarkin, Chewie, and Jin. It was funny because everybody in my 4-person pod pulled at least one IG-88. Somebody pulled 2, so that I think everybody except me ended up with an IG-88, and I think Chris ended up with 2 of them. It was pretty funny. And he played with him, and it I think IG-88 is fun in draft because then you can really just try and stack your deck with a bunch of little red guys. But I ended up playing with Jin. I played some Shatterpoint. Excited. We've started a league here. Our weekly play was sort of fizzling out, so I started up a league. That's sort of how I guess you guys tend to do league, which is schedule your games online, play whenever, report it. You got a week. Because the Shatterpoint community is sort of spread out across a couple stores across town. So I'm like, well, if we do it this way, then everybody in town will get to participate, because scheduling the same time, same place for this game group isn't working. So that's fun. I'm excited about that. So I think just Shatterpoint and Unlimited. I'm going to be playing some Legion tomorrow because look who we have here. We've got some clone commandos.
Whoa.
And some range troopers that I'm sitting on. And so, yeah, we're going to get in a game with those.
Nice.
Because I think those come out next month. Technically, I do have I think the only card we don't know about is the Delta Squad unit card, which I have, which this episode will come out after the embargo date, so we can go over it right now if you guys want. Bit of an audible. Otherwise,
Yeah, sure.
it'll be in the video that's publishing tomorrow.
Sure. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I want to see.
Okay, more news. This is just all news. Breaking news. I have the Delta Squad card.
Well, don't break them.
You have to let me know how the range troopers end up playing, because like I said, I'm kind of they fit
look
with like
cool.
my whole like Blizzard Force theme, even though they're not. I can't actually play Blizzard Force when I use them, but
Yeah. So
sadly,
here we go. So if you're listening, I'll narrate everything, but if you're watching, you can also see things. So we've got the
can't really see. Oh, they're
oh,
finally
no.
focused.
So that's the default clone commandos, who are 75 points with 2 courage. Their gun is range 1 to 2 with a black white, and Delta Squad is, oh, come on, focus camera, 100 points. They've got 1 extra training slot, infinite courage.
whoa.
Their complete the mission is the same. So if they're within range 1 of a token or their target is, they get some surges. Their default gun is a black instead of a black white. They've got target 2 instead of target 1, and they have independent recover.
Wow.
Which I believe is the first independent that's not a surge. I mean, not a green token. It's just independent recover, because obviously, like the other guys, they have recharge 1 because they're also shielded 1. So if you don't give them an order token, they're just getting their shield back and able to flip their config gun.
Wow.
Yeah.
Plus some other upgrades that you'll probably tie into that. Aren't there some trainings or something that can flip? That's cool.
Yeah.
I feel like you don't even really need infinite courage when you're recovering probably a lot of rounds. But I guess you might as well at that point.
True. I wonder if that's almost because it can be a downside, because they're never going to have
you can't get
bonuses.
cover. So
yeah,
I mean cover from your suppression.
Oh yeah, I guess they were never going to be panicking anyways with lots of free recovers. So this means, well, if you're not panicking, I guess you don't get the benefit. So maybe it is a downside.
But that's kind of true to being a first-person shooter protagonist, that you're just rushing through the level and taking no cover or anything. Arguably,
yeah.
That's cool though. That's more original, more unique than I expected.
Yeah, I'm really excited about them. The one thing that I find a little sad is the sculpts don't have. The sculpts are cool, and every single sculpt, you'll see this if you go watch the unboxing video that will be published by the time this episode's out. There's only 4 minis, but each one you could put any of the weapon options on each mini that you want, which is cool. So there's 4 minis, but 12 guns in the box, so you could have them in any configuration you want. The only thing that I was a little bummed about after just looking at some reference photos, because I'm like, well, I'd like to paint these like Delta Squad, because it's just the nice intertwining of all of these games, the video game and the tabletop game. And the backpacks on Delta Squad are a little different than the standard, because they've got these weird bong tubes coming out of their backs that don't exist on the sculpts here. And so it's like, for me, if I paint them like Delta Squad, I'd be like, well, it's not actually Delta Squad. Delta Squad has weird backpacks.
You'll have to green stuff them all, I guess.
I was gonna say.
Yeah,
I bet there will be after once the the way the sculpts are all set up becomes known, about 30 seconds after that, someone will have 3D files that can be printed, though.
I did notice you can even, so you could, I don't know if there's any case for this, but you can have their backpacks off, and the part that their backpack is covering is still sculpted with like the the whatever's on the back of a clone trooper.
Mhm.
So like if you wanted to have no backpack, it still would look intentional. You wouldn't have to like modify
That's
anything.
cool.
Anyway, that's Delta Squad. I think they sound really cool, and I'm excited to try them out because it sounds like they're going to be really hard to kill. Anyway, back to other news. So let's start with simple news. Outlaws, Star Wars Outlaws, the video game, because Star Wars has video games now and then that we like. There was a story trailer. We're not going to break down the story trailer or talk about that too much, other than it looks pretty cool.
It looked neat, yeah.
Yep.
I'm excited about that game a lot. Hopefully, it doesn't suck. But it comes out on August 27th of this year, so that we have a firm release date. So mark your calendars, I guess.
Mhm.
And I'll probably end up pre-ordering or something to get some of the goodies because
Yeah,
Star Wars games are the only games I do that. I still haven't even played Spider-Man 2 because I'm like, I can wait. I've got so many games to play. I can wait like 2 years, and then all the DLC will be bundled in some like Game of the Year edition, and it'll be cheaper, and it's fine.
Yeah, it's not a Star Wars game. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about pre-ordering this one though, just because.
Well, every game, including this one, including Jedi Survivor, is kind of trash until about a year later. That's how modern games work, which is why I'm happy to wait on games. But it's a Star Wars game. I can't wait.
Fallen Order was fine at launch. And even like Survivor, I think, was fine if you played it on console, which I didn't, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, you got to get this one on PC so you can report on how, because there is a lack of people reporting on video games like this, so we can fill that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just nervous to the fact that it's got the Ubisoft name attached to it.
More like Ubisoft.
Yeah, and then I just some of their pre-order options just left a bad taste in my mouth. Like the fact that they've got a whole mission that you have to buy this season pass for the DLC to get access to that mission at all. You can't just because I don't like.
There's a mission that's DLC, but you couldn't buy it on its own. It's like stuck to the season pass.
Yeah, it's.
Oh, that's obscene.
Yeah, it's a Jabba's. It's some sort of Jabba mission.
Not his spaceship, though.
Yeah,
it's where you just punching all of his pets.
Now they did clarify because some people were worried about this when they saw it, that all the Jabba content was going to be inside this locked mission. They said it's just one bonus mission. There's still lots of Jabba content inside the base game. So
not as bad as it could be.
Yeah, but still, I don't like the fact that. I mean, if they wanted to charge me a couple bucks for this bonus mission, whatever. Even though I think like day one launch DLC is a big load of crap too.
Yeah.
If you can have it at day one, it should be in the base game. It's not DLC then.
Especially now that the excuse, at least as I recall, is it wasn't done when they sent their discs to the printer, but it'll be done like in the months that like the physical product is being manufactured.
If you can have a day one patch, you can put this in there too. So there you go. Yeah, I just hate day one DLC on principle. I don't like the season pass thing because, especially like here, they're charging. It's essentially $40 for the season pass.
How much?
And that gives you 2 DLCs, and I don't know.
And that's really bad.
Pinky one.
Yeah,
some
cosmetics. and the one mission. Yeah, so I guess to me that feels like, I don't know, $20 per DLC is about what I would pay for the DLC anyways. So
Right. Does that mean they're going to be like $25 a piece if you buy them separately?
uh,
Because I tend to, at least it's been a long time since I've had to care about that in a game, but not mind the season pass because I'm like, well, I'm gonna get them all anyways because it's a game I really like, so I might as well get the pass and save a couple bucks.
yeah,
But it
but
is
that's
weird that there's that one that's like, I've never heard of a game doing that where like, hey, here's a thing that is tied to the season pass.
yeah, you get the special Jabba's Gambit exclusive mission.
That's where Jabba's got a Cajun accent and he throws sabacc cards.
um, yeah, and then if you pay yet another $20 on top of that, you get a couple more skins and the digital art book. Oh, and both of the higher level, you get to play the game 3 days early, which, I mean, based on the way games run these days, it's probably not even going to be playable during those 3 days. So
Yeah.
why
If it
bother?
was an online game, yeah, I'd say no. But
Or your other option to get everything that you would get in the $130 version. And I swear, I think that they have these inflated prices just to try and drive people to the Ubisoft Plus subscription,
Ugh.
which for $18 a month you will get to play the game, you know, right
wait,
away. Plus you get a catalog of over 100 games that nobody wants to play.
yeah, like
Um,
stop. Game Pass exists and PlayStation has their own kind of version of that. Nobody wants anything else. Like
For
EA,
$18 a month.
Yeah, I seriously, I went and I looked at the catalog. Now there is some stuff like old games. There's some old ass games that I would play, except I've bought most of those games for like $1 on Good Old Games or gotten them free on the Epic Game Store or something like that.
Yeah.
And then all the new games, essentially none of those I want to play anyways. So $18 is, um, yeah. And at the same time, part of me is like, I don't know, this, maybe just paying the $18 for 1 month, play through the game, and then cancel my subscription is the way to go. But also, I don't want to give Ubisoft the satisfaction of being able to, report like, "Whoa, look how much our subscriptions jumped up," blah blah blah.
Right.
So I don't know. I hate it all the way around,
that's
which is too bad
the
because I mean I am excited for the game right now. So
uh-huh.
I just all the pre-order information sort of put a damper on my excitement.
Maybe they'll send us a press copy.
Maybe, yeah. After my glowing review I just gave their Ubisoft Plus, I bet we got 3 in
This
the
game
mail
is
right now.
0 out of 10 because of the experience getting to the point where I can play it was so garbage. All right,
Are you
more.
Oh yeah. Also,
are you excited for the
it's
Lando
not
skin
gonna be
though?
it's not gonna be on Steam. So on PC, I've got to use the bullshit Ubisoft game launcher thingy,
Oh,
whatever the
we
fuck it's
need-
called.
You play or something?
Go get a PS.
I think
Five?
Uplay is gone, and now they've moved on to something else.
Ubi
We
Plus.
play. I play.
Are you at least excited for the Lando skin, the bundle that they announced for her?
That's part of the. You gotta buy the $130 version, or subscribe to their subscription to get that though. So no, not that excited.
All right, next up in our news feed, just in this just in. Actually, hold on. Let me click the link so I can actually say it properly. Atomic Mass Games has put out an announcement about Grand Tournaments, which is going to be basically replacing Worlds at the Grand Canyon in the bottom of it.
That would be cool.
So the too long didn't read of this press release is basically worlds world championships for Legion, Armada, X-Wing, and Shatterpoint, and Crisis Protocol are basically going away, and there will now be these things called grand tournaments, which sounds like they're basically going to be just like regionals used to be, except maybe more flexible in where they can be and how many people can attend and stuff. And that would be the highest level of play for these games. So,
Yeah, I feel like so you're gonna see a lot more like like I believe some of the stuff like LVO already had, they were already technically like a regionals or something like that. But basically, even it's now like you can just apply to have your event count as this, and I assume get prize support from Atomic Mass is kind of like what it sounds like. And then yeah, just that's it. There's nowhere to go from there. You don't need to qualify to get into these. They're just all
no, there's
open.
no.
Um,
The
so in a way, it's almost a little bit like the old worlds where just anybody could show up
right,
under Fantasy Flight.
but there will no longer be a single location where everybody shows up where you're like, oh, there's the Polish people and there's the Germans and there's the people from Australia. It's just going to be like, well, community will have I a lot of people seem unhappy about this. I think it will probably do what they are saying and help grow communities in smaller locations that have had trouble accessing these types of they call it like convention style tournaments, which does sound good because if there's smaller places with smaller communities, you just don't have those opportunities, and now you will, which is cool. Um, it I think there are good aspects about this change, especially as somebody who's just kind of burnt out on high level competitive play. However, it does also have the tone of we're done with Worlds because it was too hard to do and it was too expensive for us to do. So here's this. That's kind of the vibe you can get from this.
Yeah.
Um, Part of it was I'd have to pull out some quotes about like no longer the need for like tracking all of these qualifying tournaments and oversight and stuff.
Yeah, I think
And
they were basically saying they were everything they were doing to have all the events to build up to and then funnel into and then also run worlds at Adepticon. They were spending that was basically their entire OP budget was going to that,
right.
and they
And
they and they want to be able to spend it in other ways. And I guess I can't say I'm super surprised because uh, the vibe we've said this before, like the vibe we've got from Atomic Mass is the guys there is they're not as much interested in a highly competitive environment, for a lot of their games. They're more into the hobby and kind of a
right.
a
Which
casual play than.
appeals to me immensely.
Mhm.
Although obviously these games all have competitive communities that you don't want to alienate. They do they point out that the cost of sending one player to Worlds was nearly equal to the cost of providing event support to a standalone 32 person convention event, which makes a lot of sense. If you want more people engaging with these games, this is potentially a better way to do it because would you rather have 32 people having this experience on maybe a little smaller scale or one person? I'm not sure if that cost of one person to Worlds refers to just the scale of running an event per person or if it refers to the cost of I think some players at the higher level tournaments got their travel comped
Yeah,
to
yeah, I think so. At some of
Adepticon,
like the really big events, it was like,
which I don't know. If
Maybe just
cost
don't
was an
do
issue, you
that.
could just stop doing that.
Yeah, but at
Yeah.
the same, I think they were also partially doing that just because a lot of the, especially say like like the European players
Oh,
and stuff
true.
like that, they would say, "Sure, it's great, I can win this regional tournament or whatever, but I can't afford to actually go to Worlds, so my invite is meaningless." So
Yeah, that's a very good point. Um, so I think this is gonna annoy or upset a lot of people. I'm excited to see where it goes because,
I
like,
feel like
I
we're going to see, at least I wouldn't be surprised maybe with X-Wing and Legion, some sort of fan organized like invitational that bills itself as like a worlds.
Hmm.
yeah, I could see people doing
um
that for sure.
and I think and I think that's fine too, just because I think that's, it's still, the competitive people side of things, the far more competitive can still organize something. And you know and yeah, it might suck that it's not like an official event, but
I don't know. There's just some like prestige missing. It's cool to
yeah.
like go to the world championships and tell your coworkers that's what you're doing, and it's
Uh
fun to
huh.
know who the world champion is this year. And like, oh, they won, the same guy won worlds again or whatever. Like all that stuff is kind of missing on these other
Yeah.
tournaments.
I mean, and
Really.
we still might see big gatherings. Like, I mean, just because they're not going to have worlds doesn't necessarily mean like at Adepticon they won't have like a grand tournament for each one of these games still going on there.
Yeah,
So, um, so
I could
something
see it.
like Adepticon still might be like a big gathering for like all the games at once.
Yeah, I'm expecting Adepticon. Their presence there is going to remain similar, except it'll be maybe more focused on the side events, or like you said, rather than worlds, it's just going to be these grand tournaments, which will have obviously far less cost and planning overhead on their end, which seems to be kind of the driving factor of this change.
Hmm.
Um, but also, like they point out, it seems like this method, while removing that kind of prestige and kind of pinnacle of competition, does sort of diffuse the opportunities worldwide so that, instead of 10 people getting to do worlds, now maybe 100 people can do grand tournaments,
Yeah, I
which
I think
seems
overall
nice.
I'm mostly positive on these changes on this. Um, I think, uh, partially just because I tend to be more casual of a player for these games. I enjoy playing competitively in small doses, but overall, I think I would be. I think the only downside I'm really seeing for someone like me is just the fact that World's invite as a prize was a good incentive for some of those smaller tournaments that would draw crowds from players from a distance to come in. and
True.
um, and now I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to see what sort of like store tournament kind of stuff, because I they did recently a new store tournament kit for, I forget which one, like X-Wing. I think it was X-Wing showed up in like the Asmodee store for a little while before it got taken down again. But and like I said, it just said tournament kit. It didn't say like store championship or anything like that, if I remember right. So I guess we'll see what kind of prizes that stuff has to see if it's still something that will entice players to drive that distance, or is it going to be, now the onus is going to be on the stores to supplement that prize support to try and uh, pull players in from around. And in bigger cities maybe it's not an issue, but I know like us, it's harder to get like enough to do like a bigger tournament unless we're pulling from a few different towns.
Yeah. So that's that. I'm curious to see how things shake out and how the community responds. Um, Next up, we've got just a little bit of unlimited news. So one of the we've got some Shadows of the Galaxy spoilers. We're gonna go over, share our thoughts on, talk about. But first, Jim Cartwright had a special announcement today on the little quick live stream. Kurt, why don't you recap what he said on there? Unless you don't remember, then Leo do it.
It was about the reprints, right? Because there's kind of been this ongoing, like, maybe not a huge stock issue with set one, but stuff has been getting a little tighter and a little tighter. Uh, and they finally went into some more detail. There's been rumors going around, like, are they going to do a reprint? What are they going to do? And they finally gave some concrete details, right?
Yeah, I think some of like the real interesting stuff. I guess we should say first of all, they did say there is reprints for uh, Spark of Rebellion coming, but it will not be for a little while. They said
Probably until
before the holidays.
okay, so
Probably you
October,
won't see it
November. Yeah,
till that like October,
8
November,
months.
something like that.
7, yeah.
Yeah, I would
Quarter
say
four.
probably like 6 months at the earliest. I'm guessing. Um,
That's good
Yeah.
news though. I mean, it might suck if you got in like a month late to the game and didn't get as much
Yeah.
as you wanted, but I
yeah,
mean, I'm like if there's a card you're really missing, well just wait until the reprint and you don't pay stupid high prices for stuff.
yeah. Like I still don't have Boba. I still don't have Vigilance. I'm just gonna kind of hold off. And they did say they do still have stock that they've been holding on to, and they're going to be trickling that out to stores. Specifically, just still as just like OP event prize support type stuff. So
Yeah. So they haven't been like completely wiped out of stock, which is something,
yeah,
but
yeah,
still not as much as most people would want to.
yeah. And again, I feel like this has just been real interesting. It's just another one of those like new transparent Fantasy Flight type things. They came out and they said, you know, Jim Cartwright, they even said they sort of planned for this, but they didn't plan for this to happen as fast as it did. um, they he said that they sold so far they've sold more uh, Spark of Rebellion. So yeah, here in these first month of the game, they've sold more in this 1 month than they did the entire year Destiny's first year of
Wow.
Wow.
so
That's
Oh, that's
great.
because Destiny they didn't have a lot of it in stock.
yeah, but even still, I mean, they had they did have three, or I forget, it was 3 or 4 sets that first year. So you got to remember, it's more than just that one set.
And so they prepared for, a big increase in the number of sales and still had been exceeding that. So,
Yeah, it's also cool because I just know from a friend and then my personal experience, there were store owners who were sort of scoffing at the idea of unlimited. Like,
yeah.
why would I want to stock this? And now it's jokes on you, store guy. Everybody wants it.
So yeah, I think that was pretty much the substance of that. He just showed off a piece of Fennec art at the very end.
Yeah, so Fennec is presumably going to be a unit card.
Yeah,
and with that,
he mentioned it will slot very well into your Boba decks. So
Okay, makes sense.
I wonder if, man, I hope she doesn't have some way to like ready resources.
It's good art too, in my opinion.
Yeah. So speaking of the art, they previewed some cards uh from set 2, basically all starter cards.
Well, yeah, they were all cards that are going to be in the starter deck. They weren't all necessarily starter only cards.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's one
Some of them were
legendary, one common, but yeah, mostly the special rarity.
yeah. Um so we can talk about those real quick, or at least the ones that are most exciting. I think the Mandalorian unit and the
Yeah.
Grogu unit are
Yeah.
obviously
Well,
ones that are gonna.
yeah. Yeah, there's that, and I think just in general, like I think the some of the more interesting stuff is like the fact that we now have the bounty and the capture mechanics
Hmm.
in this set, which is
Right.
something that they talked about during that stream. Essentially, um,
They
capturing, like some units are going to have or upgrades in the case of say like the Mandalorian's rifle is going to let you capture a unit, which basically means you will slide it face down underneath the card that captured it. Um, and then some cards will have the uh, a bounty keyword, and then basically whenever they get that card gets captured, the bounty keyword will trigger and give the player that captured it some sort of bonus. Like there is an upgrade called Wanted that they previewed that its bounty says that you get to ready to friendly resources.
Yeah, it's going to be really good with Boba as well. They also mentioned that there isn't the third new mechanic is called Smuggle, but they weren't talking about how that works just yet.
Yeah.
It was also just kind of cool seeing a little bit of the theming around the two starter decks, like based on the abilities they showed. The Mandalorian gets a lot of bonuses for like playing upgrades, which is kind of cool. I think there's not a lot of that currently, so it's like, oh, that'll be a little different style from the other leaders and units. Hopefully, it's good too, but it'll be cool, especially when some of those bounties are also upgrades. Um, and
Yeah,
then
because yeah,
he's
the
a
his
blue yellow gosh let me find it. He's a
yellow
yellow
heroism.
white, yeah, yellow white, and it's the deck is, I already forget, is it yellow blue? Yeah, it's a yellow blue deck
Yeah,
for Din.
they're both blue.
Right.
The heroism, the Mandalorian deck is uh, vigilance and cunning, and then the Moff Gideon deck is command and cunning. Or I mean, command and vigilance, which is interesting. So it seems like neither of the two decks has aggression in them at all.
Yeah, which I wasn't expecting.
Mhm. Yeah, I was not either. Um,
Gideon seems cool too from what they showed. He's good at boosting up weaker units, which is kind of fun. So he's kind of like that command, like spamming weak guys. And they showed a couple Dark Trooper cards that were cool too.
Yeah,
yeah,
the phase 2 or phase 3 Dark Trooper, um, 3 cost, 3 power, 3 HP Sentinel, and then if it gets combat damage, it gets an experience. So that seems really good to have a Sentinel that no one's going to want to hit unless they can outright kill it.
They showed Gideon's light cruiser as well. That seems cool. They showed the Razor Crest. So it wasn't a huge number of cards, but they all really piqued my interest. So I was like, that's a
mhm.
good reveal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
and
then
then
they showed like a whole pile of art. We got to look at what did we get to look at? Maul, Afra, Forlom, and Zuckus.
they mentioned
Um,
Forlom and Zuckus are going to just be 2 cards that work really well together. We
we
got
saw some. We've seen a bunch of different various members of Bad Batch so far.
I think we've seen art for Echo, Hunter, and Crosshair
Yeah, they just
And
showed off
Tech.
Crosshair today. Oh yeah,
and
and
Tech
Tech. So yeah, so we haven't seen Rekka or Echo, or I mean
or
Omega
Mega.
yet.
Um, there's Kira. There's art of Enfys Nest. There's art of Lom Pike,
Yeah.
the
We've seen
weak
the
guy.
Daimyo Boba.
Yeah, that's really. I wonder if there's going to be a new unit. or if it's just could be just for an event, but
Yeah,
it's
it could
great.
even be an event. It could just be, yeah.
Um,
It seems somewhat unlikely we'll see another Boba leader
Yeah.
after with
mhm.
him having one in the last set already. But I mean, who knows?
There's some real cool art of a Haxian Brood bounty hunter on Kashyyyk. Those are those bounty hunters that would hound you in Jedi Fallen Order. So that's super cool that there's character from Fallen Order already. Hopefully that means we get some more. Man, I want that from Jedi Survivor, the Cage Cage Vanda, I think her name was, that Nautilin
Oh
bounty
yeah, that
hunter
would be
in
cool.
the saloon.
I mean, we might get her.
Mm-hmm.
There's new Jabba art too, so new leader. I hope. I bet that'd be cool.
Yeah, it'd be
Um,
surprised. I'd be surprised if Jabba wasn't a leader in this set.
there's a young Han and Chewie. Uh,
Yeah, we've seen young Lando.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so just in general, a lot of really cool art. Um,
Really exciting.
yeah, I feel like um,
Oh yeah, the art we saw earlier. I was looking at some of our older tweets. There's art of Toro Calican.
Oh yeah,
the that stupid
Chunk
punk.
bounty hunter. I'm
Yeah,
excited
I
though. I
think
don't know. It'll be cool to have a dumb,
gotta hate
stupid
him.
bounty hunter
I
guy.
fe-
I love him.
the artwork, it makes me think it's an event or an upgrade because it's him ogling the wanted hollow puck for Fennec, which somebody like eyeballing a wanted thing screams event artwork rather than like unit
yeah,
artwork because it's
yeah,
not like
probably some
Maybe.
kind of it's somehow gonna revolve around capturing or a bounty kind of thing. Um,
the armorer. There's also art of
yeah,
Oh
the
yeah,
armorer.
so yeah,
I
so I mean, just in general, they've kind of said there's going to be a lot of Mandalorians in this. We're going to have a lot of bounty hunters. Like they said, we've already got Bad Batch on the way too. I don't know. So far, what we've been seeing is shaping up to be pretty cool. Um, one kind of weird thing they did say during that stream is they pointed out this set um, is 162 or 262 cards. The last previous set was 252. So we got 10 more cards in this set. But they sort of implied that, but then they said, so we've got 10 more cards with an asterisk. And then they didn't really go into any more what that means. So
yeah,
there's been like lots of people debating what are these 10 extra cards. I've seen people um, say like like they're reprints of some cards from set one, which I don't know. It seems I don't know why you would put copies of the same card from set one into set two. Normally, you don't do a reprint of a card um, until like rotation happens, and
mhm.
then sometimes there's like when rotation happens and some sets phase out of constructed play and the new stuff comes in, sometimes there's some staple cards that you just sort of need to have that kind of thing in your decks, and so
Yeah.
they'll like something like a waylay or takedown or vanquish, like that's the sort of thing like if I could definitely see being reprinted in another set somewhere down the road. um
Um, we did also see the art on Shields and Experiences new because yeah, they said the set's basically all people who exist outside the law and Mandalorians, who that also kind of applies to. But so the experience has Din holding his spear in the crater of what used to be the Razor Crest, and then the shield is just a guy with like the little Mandalorian energy shield thing.
yeah, it looks like one of the like Death Watch Mandos.
Previsla maybe
I wonder if
something like that.
they did mention, I don't remember the wording anymore from the stream, but somebody said something about shield and armor in a way that made me think there'll probably be a Mandalorian armor upgrade card that gives you some kind of shield token ability, or the armorer hands out shields or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm really excited for this set just because all of the scoundrelly type bounty hunter type people are my favorites.
Yeah,
Yeah.
did we mention too the one image they had? I don't know if it's a card or if it's just banner art, but it had Afra and Maul and Cad Bane on it. So those might be cards.
We've seen two different pieces of art for Cad Bane,
Oh yeah.
which
Oh yeah, yeah,
you
that's
know,
right.
so
Yeah, because
I could
one seemed
It's that
more
low
like it would have
angle.
been like an event kind of thing or something like that.
yeah. So it could be unit and event, could be leader and unit, could be. I would be surprised if there's not a Cad Bane
Yeah.
unit card, and he's probably going to be legendary, and it's probably going to drive me nuts trying to get
Or it might be like a Cad Bane's hat upgrade card.
it. Yeah, you get +1 experience for every enemy unit in that arena. So you could put it on a vehicle, put it in space on a spaceship.
Hmm.
I gotta go homebrew that and see. Um,
um,
so
but
the
yeah.
last bit of Star Wars news, because there's been or Star Wars gaming news, since there's been a lot in the since we last talked to you, the viewer, this dialogue we're having right now. Um, there's a new brand new board game coming out called Star Wars Bounty Hunters, which is going to come out on May 31st. It is it's coming from Zygomatic Games, who have they're a child of Asmodee. The most notable things they've made is probably Spot It or Double if you live in the UK. Um, they've also made Timeline Twist, which I think is really good. I don't know if they made the original Timeline, but sort of more light strategy
Wasn't the
slash
original
family
timeline a
game.
Fantasy Flight game?
I don't know. I have all of it except the very regionally specific versions of it. The new Timeline Twist is good and it's fun and it has a very interesting co-op mode that makes you have to think. And I have Star Wars Timeline Twist because there's a Star Wars version of it. I
Hmm.
also have the original Star Wars Timeline, which sucked and was uh, pointless if you have seen the movies a million times. But the way new Timeline works, Timeline Twist, might actually be interesting because it's less about knowing exactly where things fall chronologically and more about strategically choosing which card to add to the line, knowing you can only add to the ends. So if you don't want to block off vast swaths of time in the middle of your timeline.
Hmm.
So there's actually some kind of strategic thinking. So I have not yet tried the Star Wars version yet, only the normal version, but I'm excited about it. So Star Wars Bounty Hunters is a light strategy game in which players compete to be the best bounty hunter. Players have goals which will help them earn points, capture targets, complete contracts, purchase droids and crates. There's no downtime. It's a simultaneous drafting game. Um, so the full rule book is online already on Zygomatic's website. I
Oh, I
looked
didn't
at it.
realize that. I maybe would have read it. I was gonna say, just sort of from the description in the articles that I was looking at, it sounds kind of similar to Seven Wonders to me.
It's been so long since I've played that. I don't know because I know it's a drafting game. That's all I know that they're similar. So I don't know how similar it is. Seven Wonders is an Asmodee product, so it could be something, but it's not made by Zygomatic, so maybe not.
Oh yeah, no, I don't necessarily. I don't mean it's like a reskin of Seven Wonders or anything. I just think it like mechanically, it shares some DNA. I think so.
Um,
Um,
yeah, so I read the rule book. It seems very fast and fun. The artwork is amazing. I love the
Yeah.
artwork. It's very sort of kind of cartoony, comic booky in like
But a lot of kind of gritty detail to it
yeah,
too.
it's like cutesy, but like in a hardcore way.
Yeah. Yeah, the box art is extremely good. You can also see some of the card art that is good. It's like as good as Star Wars Unlimited art, I feel like. And
Yeah, the artist is Derek Laufman. So if He's got Instagram and a Twitter. He's got lots of cool stuff up on there. Which, I'm noticing on the box there's a QR code on the side of the box. I wonder if that takes you directly to the rules or like a official video. I've never seen that on a board game before.
Some of the characters you can see on the box, Boba Fett is like the main one, obviously, but along the side there's also Black Chrysanthemum, Greedo, Hondo, Din Djarin, Zuckuss, and Dengar, and then you have good guys that are your targets. So just based on the back of the box, I haven't read the PDF, but you like get a team of bounty hunters as well as droids that improve your stats in some way, and then you are trying to capture good guy characters like Chewbacca, and somehow your stats somehow do something. And there's some way to try and get multiple bounties for extra points or something.
Yeah,
you probably know
so
more from reading the PDF, but
you start with like a hand of cards. Everybody throws one down in front of them and then passes them to the left, and that's how play goes. And when you throw them down in front of you, if you're throwing down a target, it's just your targets could be Kira, Padme, Zeb, Omega, Chewbacca, Han Solo, Kanan, or Grogu, and they have 3 numbers: a green, or blue, and a red number. These are their shields. If you throw down a bounty hunter or a droid, these are how you capture them. They also have corresponding numbers that are lower, and you've got to keep stacking stuff up until all of the numbers of the droids and bounty hunters equal or exceed the numbers on the target, and that's how you capture the target. However, because you are a bounty hunter, there is shame in hiring another bounty hunter, so you lose points for bounty hunters that you hire.
okay.
It looks like in this example, there's Han Solo is being taken by Greedo, some other hunter, and a droid. And Greedo doesn't lose you any points. The other hunter loses you 2 points, and the droids never cost you points, but they cost you money to like enlist. And then there is also like a deck of cards from the Jawas that's where you buy droids, and also crates, which are just worth points. And then there are contracts that are like, well, it'll say things like, well, you need to have captured 1 Grogu and 1 Padme, or you need to capture 2 Padmes or whatever. So just some kind of like thing you're trying to, that doesn't make sense. Like, why would I need to capture Padme twice? But sort of like a target of like a pattern of things you're trying to accomplish. And so since everybody's going to have different ones as you're drafting, it could be interesting how the cards get passed around. But it seems simple. I think light strategy is the right descriptor, because there's certainly strategy, but it's not like, it's not one of those big games that take 4 hours. So
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited about it. It looks cool.
If it actually gets played at board game nights, then I think that'll be an advantage. The art alone makes me interested, and I need to read the rules at some point to see if it sounds fun too.
Also, the first game that I can think of that has Zuckuss, but not Forlom. Forlom is not in this game, yet Zuckuss is. So that's, big deal for the Zuck.
Right?
Forlom was busy, that's all.
Now I'm not paying this game.
The bounty hunters you can hire are Greedo, Dengar, Bosk, Zuckuss, Hondo, Black Chrysanthemum, Aurra Sing, Boba, IG-11, The Mandalorian, Cad Bane, and Fennec Shand. And then there's like 6.
Imagine putting Cad Bane in, but leaving out Forlom. Lame.
Imagine putting Hondo. Hondo's the only one in that list who's not a bounty hunter.
True.
Yeah, but the art is awesome. The game seems cool. It's only $25, which is also really nice. Comes out May 31st of this year. I'm waiting to hear back on some like I don't know what they call it. I filled out some form. I want to see if they can send me a review copy, because I'm really excited about it.
That would be nice. How many other people are even interested in getting a review copy of this game? I don't know. Maybe some people are excited. Hopefully it's cool.
Yeah.
Just a little under the radar, maybe,
Yeah, like there wasn't like an announcement article. I don't even remember where I saw it.
Someone shared a link to us.
Oh yeah, somebody on our Discord. Shout out to every single person on our Discord for filling in the gaps in our journalism,
Yeah.
I guess.
Thank you specifically to Ryan, if you listen to this.
Yeah. Thanks, Ryan. So that is all of the Star Wars gaming news that has sort of piled up on us that we wanted to talk about. There's, probably some other stuff like new mods for games, or the fact that the Battlefront classic collector edition thingy bombed pretty hard.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
We talked about that a little bit the last time we recorded.
Okay.
Yeah. New patches for oh well, that's gonna be confusing for for Star Wars what Hunters, is that what the hell's like? See, I can't even remember the name of the
Star
game.
Wars Hunters, yeah. There was a tweet from I almost called him Bazinga. What are they called? Zynga. They're called Zynga. The people who make Hunters. They're like, it's global release is coming soon. Like, sure it is. This game was announced over 3 years ago. I haven't read the novelization yet.
Wow.
Or the tie-in novel, not the novelization. It's been sitting on my table for about a year.
Yeah.
But you know what? Those characters, I want those characters in Shatterpoint. Like that whole vibe of the theme of that game feels like Shatterpoint. Like, oh, let's just throw some guys in an arena and have them hit each other.
We could get them in Star Wars Unlimited too, honestly. Like, what if you got the Jawas as separate characters and there was some way to stack them? Then you could finally have an actual Voltron unit. Like everyone's saying, equipping a lightsaber makes you Voltron. You could actually combine characters like Voltron. That would be really great. That should be one of the mechanics in set 3, I think. Combining characters.
Yeah, piggyback.
Yeah. Yeah, because then you can have Yoda riding on Luke's back. There's like lots of things.
You have like falling apart 3PO. You get to put him on the Chewbacca.
Yes. You could have BD1 riding on Cal too. There's like so many characters you could do this with.
Yeah.
Well, I
didn't realize how many backpack characters there are in Star Wars.
Well, I remember. Well, like I've always said, that was a deck I built in the old Decipher CCG. Because with Luke's backpack, you could put Yoda or an Ewok or a Jawa into the Luke's backpack.
Did the backpack specify Yoda, Ewok, Jawa, or did it say like small?
It said Yoda or an Ewok or a Jawa.
Okay. Just trying to figure out because there is already a Jawa in Unlimited, so yeah, just list off all the keywords of, Ugnaught. We'll get an Ugnaught eventually. We need what's his name? Turbo, like Hondo's friend in Rebels. Turbo, I think.
Here's my question about Luke's backpack. Was that a backpack that Yoda had ready to go in his closet, or did Luke have that on his X-Wing and was like, oh, finally, this is my Jawa backpack. I can finally use it for something else. Because he hadn't met an Ewok yet.
Oh, I
didn't know they'd fit.
You could also put Cabe.
Cabe?
Cabe, the little Chadrafan in the cantina in A New Hope. You could also put him in the backpack.
That's probably why Luke had that.
Yeah, because it was like Uber on Tatooine, but like cheaper. Jawas and that guy.
It's a separate job, yeah.
Okay. Well, now that we know the big reveal for Shadows of the Galaxy, Luke's backpack. Or it could just be, little guy backpack is what they'll call it.
There's gonna be a unique version that's Luke's that gets a bonus when he equips it. There'll be a generic one that anyone can equip, like Jedi lightsaber, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we called it.
Nailed it. What did I? Oh yeah, I need to stat out an upgrade card for Cad Bane's hat. The subtitle is "It's a nice hat."
And there's got to be a way Cad Bane can take it from an enemy if they're wearing his hat.
Yeah, like when Cad Bane's unit card will just say, when played, defeat an enemy unit who has Cad Bane's hat equipped, equip it to this unit. That'll be the whole ability text of, because Cad Bane's hat will be so good, people will want to run it, and he'll be the only counter to it.
Or if there is no unit with his hat on, you can search your deck for a Cad Bane's
Okay,
hat
yeah.
and then deploy it to him.
Or
Well,
another
talking.
person that he can then kill. Like, he's like, oh, it's justified. He was wearing my hat. Like, I saw you put that hat on his head. All right, everybody. Let us know which amazing upgrade and unit card for Unlimited you're most excited about, or what. We covered a lot of stuff, so I want to know how, especially the worlds thing. How do you feel about that? Because I think that's going to be pretty controversial.
Yeah, come chat us up on our Discord. You can join. If you're a patron, you get a special channel that only you can see, but anyone can join our Discord to talk about any of these games, Unlimited or Legion or whatever, just Star Wars in general. It's
Yeah,
cool.
it's a fun place, and you can like tell us about new board games coming out, like Bounty Hunters that that we didn't know about.